The extrovert parent and the introvert child. 2 weeks ago, we did a special that was about the introvert parent and the extrovert child. So it's time to talk about the opposite. What do you do when you are the dramatic parent and you live outside the box and you are excited about everything and socializing and speaking to people and seeing what they're doing and saying hi in the grocery store, and your child is like, OMG, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this lady or this man. What do you do then? How do you cultivate in an area where they feel like you on their nerves because you're the one that's the extrovert? So I'm here to give you that minute today. Okay, I have a couple tips that you want to take with you into 2020. Here we go. Let me give you my disclaimer first. I put a disclaimer. Don't worry. You are okay. You are not crazy. And neither is your child. If you are the extrovert parent, you are not crazy. And neither is your child. That is the introvert. We're going to touch on some basic things about the introvert and then some key nuggets for the extrovert parent to be able to have balance in your home. All right, so here we go. Between 30 and 50% of people are introverts. So between 30 and 50% of people are introverts. You are bound to have an introvert in your home if you are not the introvert yourself. So if you are the extrovert and your child is the introvert, of course it feels a little different. But know this, almost half of the world is that. So nothing is wrong. We just have to find harmony. This is a biology thing. This is how they're born. Now, you know, I usually come on and I encourage you to remember that your children are all built with their own gifts and talents that are innate, as well as you are. And one of them is being an introvert. Those who are introverts, they are able to see things a little differently than the extrovert. They're able to pull back, to marinate on information, on ideas a little bit longer. Their desire to have engaging people going back and forth is real minimal. So a lot of times they're really intuitive and they're, real critical thinkers, and they sit back and they take a moment to decide on things. So we don't want to sleep on how powerful the mind of an introvert is, all right? The ways to cultivate harmony between the extrovert parent and an introvert child is to make sure that you have a couple things. So I'm giving you 10 different tips here. You want to know that there are some personality boundaries, all right? Now, for an introvert, we're talking about the characteristics of an introvert where some of them they don't want to be bothered. They really enjoy their space and their time and that serenity, that break from the world to sit back and relax. How can we tell that? Well, when they're little, they might be crying because they want you to put them down. They might, be content with just the wubby or whatever it was they had. Sometimes they feel overexhausted. You can tell, like when everybody is visiting, that baby gets overexhausted, like quick, like, okay, I'm over it. This is a lot of people. I'm good. And they're comfortable just sitting next to you or something. So you want to be able to pick up on those type of personality traits when they're young. And even if you haven't, you can pick that up on an older child as well. One of the top tips is this. Know that your introvert needs time to be in his or her own space, to relax, reflect, rest, and reboot. For an extrovert, what feeds us is, because I am an extrovert, is talking and communicating and moving around and being creative, dancing and making sounds. I mean, we really get excited about contact. And for us, that energizes us. For an introvert, that wipes them out. It's exhaustion is what it gives them. So we have to make sure that we understand what is giving gas and what is setting it on fire. What makes it too much? So the second tip, socializing can be a workout. It may energize you and deplete your child. So when you're socializing, when you're taking opportunity, whether it's visiting friends or family or at the park playing, you might want to make sure that you're leaving time and space for your child to enjoy engaging in things in solitude. And sometimes we go, look, the baby is shy. It may not be shy to me. I don't want to play with him no more. And we should be able to find ways to be okay with that, to be able to give them time where we encourage them to socialize, to be able to spend time with other people, because they're going to need that contact. You want them to be able to think feel that is normal, and not give them anxiety if there are people around at all. But you want to be able to give them the solitude and the time to go and enjoy space by themselves. So that's number 2. Number 3, teach them how to take breaks to reduce anxiety and nervousness about things and people. So another thing that you can do is you can help your child be able to, you teach them how to give themselves a break. Tell them to articulate what it is that they're feeling when they start becoming anxious or frustrated or overwhelmed. Have them articulate that, speak it out loud, and then teach them, okay, so before you get to that mark, you know that you've been already working on this project with 3 kids or 3 other children for 45 minutes. Schedule on the clock to give yourself a 15-minute break and just go be by yourself for a moment. That's okay. A lot of adults didn't get that until we became adults, how to get that time and that space away to unwind and then reboot yourself. So teach them how to do that for themselves while they're young. I'm doing tips, you all, for the extrovert parent, parenting an introvert child. You want to nudge, but you don't want to push. When it comes down to encouraging them to do things that are out of their comfort zone, for an introvert, they're not excited about getting pushed out of the box. They are not excited about getting forced. That can actually lead to some other emotional traumas. It can lead to anxieties that you didn't plan on giving your child. I'll give you an example. I know for me, I'm an extrovert. When Nyla is 20, about to be 23, 22. When Nyla was young, I considered like, come on, let's do certain things. And I was excited, and I just knew she would be excited. And she was not excited about a lot of the things I was excited about. And to this day, she reminds me, Mom, remember you made me get on that roller coaster? Not cool, Mom. And so I had to remember that for her, in her own way, she didn't feel like being there with all those people and talking and standing in the line with more people and then getting on the roller coaster, and she don't care nothing about heights. So that's something I had to learn, as a young parent, it's definitely as an educator, that we want to be able to help encourage and push them along and nudge them, but we don't want it to make it feel like a push. We don't want to force them to do things. We want to encourage them to want to try things that are different so that they can expand and stretch themselves and grow, because growth is what we're looking for over the long haul. So number 5, master creating icebreakers. All right, so this is what I love about icebreakers. Icebreakers give you opportunity to redirect some situations. So for example, you're working on something or doing an activity or at a family function, and your introvert child is a little overwhelmed. My suggestion is have some icebreaker things that your child can call out. Hey, Mom, can we go do, the heads up game or whatever, some other thing, or a checkers. Excuse me, I'm thinking of something that's just one-on-one, where you're playing a particular game one-on-one, tic-tac-toe on a paper, or something where they get to actually do something that breaks the ice from whatever the busy work is and winds down somewhat, and then you allow them to engage in the solitude for a certain amount of time. When you have icebreakers, it puts the children in position to know that, okay, I'm about to transition and things are going to get a little bit lighter. And it takes away that anxiety and stress of feeling that they have to perform technically, that they have to stay in this engaging, overwhelming circumstance because they're an introvert. Ooh, this throat is really it's not my friend today, y'all. My next tip is this. Teach them how to identify their own wins and how to strengthen their voice. You want to encourage your introvert child to be able to speak up for themselves about how they feel, about things that they like, about things that they don't like, their opinions on things. Encourage them, give them the floor to speak as much as possible, and ask questions that leave them in an opportunity to really express. Because a lot of times, an introvert child will take the easy way out. Yep, no. How was school? Cool. You want to ask them something more on the lines of, did you have science today? Yep, that's just a yes. Tell me something interesting about science today. Was there anything different that you learned today that you didn't know yesterday? See if you can get them to pull out information, or even if you ask them, describe 5 people's outfits. break the ice. Use something like that to break the ice and before you go into the next activity, especially if it's something that you know may have them feel like they want to draw back from. Next, don't upstage your child or make them feel like they're your understudy. All right, so let me tell you something. As an extrovert, we get excited and hype and we're moving fast. And our introvert children, for them, it's almost like they're living on the stage with us behind the curtain. So we want to make sure that we don't upstage them, meaning that when we're in areas where they should be shining on their own, we're amongst their peers, or we're at their school, let them do their thing. Let them be able to be them, and not fill in blanks that they didn't need filled in. Allow them to use their space the way they see fit. And so that's for upstaging, and for not wanting to cast a shadow, wanting them to be your understudy. A lot of times, and I've seen parents do this in the classroom, where parents come in, they go, oh, well, she's just like that because this and this and that. She's shy. She does this. She does that. Now the parent is articulating and telling me all description of what the child likes, and the child is sitting there without a voice. That's not a practice that you want to keep up. It's not too healthy over time. You want them to be able to have their own voice, to be able to speak and say what they do and don't like, what they want to do. A child who's learned how to become a parent's understudy, meaning that they don't have a voice, somebody else says what's going on and reads the whole script, and they just are being there. Sometimes they get lost in the way of not knowing what to do next because they haven't practiced. They haven't exercised using their own voice and being able to articulate who they are, what they do and don't like, what they want, or asking questions. You want to leave them the space to do that so that they continue to grow and shine. We're going over the introvert child and the extrovert parent. Us wild mamas and daddies. All right, next. Ask bite-sized questions. Okay, so when it comes to trying to get an introvert sometimes to talk, you feel like you're pulling teeth, and now you're frustrated because you're like, oh my goodness, you were so anal about getting all these things in order, in color order, but now I'm asking you about some details and you won't tell me anything. Well, you got to remember, in their understanding, for them to have everything in order is a part of how they process. It's their critical thinking skills. I think I want it to go like this, and they've already rationalized why it makes sense for it to be in this order and how it's going to be implemented and used. That space will be used the next time around and the time after that. Those are things that they haven't articulated, but in their behavior, you can see it. So you want to make sure that you're not putting them in position to where you're judging that and demanding that they behave in a particular kind of way, because you really want them to be able to be comfortable in their own skin and then to be able to add to their comfort by learning how to do some things and becoming familiar and comfortable with some things that are on the other end of the stage, on the extrovert side. But you want them to be able to choose it comfortably for themselves so that that's a part of the growth versus them retracting from it, fearful that they're going to mess up in that area. And the last one, 10. Become their complement. Now, let me tell you, to become a child's complement is really, really wonderful. We do it in different ways. When I say compliment, I mean this. I allow you to be who you are, your whole you. And then I take my attributes and I add them around all of your greatness so that now everything is complementing and everything is shining and you're able to be yourself. The child is able to be themselves. So the way you can do that to become a complement to your child is to make sure that you know your energy and know their energy. You want to be able to tell when your energy is high and theirs is low, how to give them the space to reboot. You want to make sure that if you have extra energy, you get out. Extrovert? Set up opportunities. You should be on hangout dates with your friends. You should be able to go paint. Now, I know I do. I do paint nights. I do all different kind of activities. My husband and I do activities. I'm an extrovert. I need socialization. I enjoy being able to see people and talk to people. If I'm isolated for too long, too many days in a row, I will just go to the stores and, run my errands. That's probably why I'm a person who doesn't care for ordering in. Like, I don't want to order my Target list. I need to walk through Target. I need to get out the house and go walk through Target. So you want to make sure that you are a compliment to your child and who they are naturally. Don't consider them boring. Don't consider any of those activities boring. Truly understand that the way they see it is different. Set up play dates. Now, when I say play dates, I mean like this. I'm not talking about just they having their cousins come over. No, set up play dates where you actually design a day for them to do nothing but introverted activities. Watch a movie by themselves. Watch a movie with you and y'all don't talk. Paint their nails if it's a girl. Whatever you want to do. Whether it's, your son, he want to ride the bike 100 times. He just needs you to watch him and he don't want to talk. Make it happen. Ask them what they would like to do. Write down the 3 things. Pick a day out of the month and let that be their introvert day. Whether it's reading a book or going somewhere, walking around, sitting under a tree and reading, sitting under a tree and playing a board game. Whatever it is that allows them to feel that they were able to get that time, call it a date and enjoy it together or apart. Be sure to meet your own needs. Make sure that you're taking care of you and build an alliance with other introvert people. If you have other family members that are introverts, kind of pick their brain a little bit. Ask them some questions that are engaging that will help out your child, as well as set up dates where they can spend time with other introverted people. Because what happens is they don't get overwhelmed because they both know how to shut it down when they're ready to shut down. Versus them being with 20 cousins that's all extroverts and you look up and your child is always in the corner by themselves on their device like this. They want to be there. They want to be a part of all the family fun, but they just get overwhelmed sometimes. So you want to create some of those spaces where it's like that, where it's less people, so that they can have that and be okay with it and explain to people, no, we all process differently and this is how this person, processes. So we set aside time for that. We don't do that exclusively. You don't want to do that because then your child will start isolating themselves from real things in the real world. But you want to make sure that you find time to feed that part of their spirit because it's a part of who they are. It's in their DNA. So those are my things for you today for my RAM Minute. I want to make sure that you redefine some terms that people associate to introverted people. Make sure that you don't ever tell them that you think too much. Don't. It's okay for your child to be philosophical. Don't. Why are you always agitated? Oh my goodness, everything you irritated about everything. Maybe they're just a critical thinker. Don't say that your child is anal. How about you just say that you really are serious about precision? So help them design, getting the proper amount of time they need to be precise about things. Don't use don't care. Oh, you don't care about nothing we doing. Every time we in, you don't never want to hang out with us. You don't care. It's not that they don't care. Sometimes they're just uninterested, and that's okay. And the last one, I hope you're not considering their introvert tendencies being rebellious, because it's not rebellious. What they're doing is expressing themselves in the only way they know how, is being themselves. So those are my RAM minutes with you today. I encourage you to cultivate the greatness out of your child as well as yourself. Have a phenomenal holiday season. I will see you guys back with new RAM minutes on the other side on 2020. If you have any requests, please feel free to put them here or inbox me. Have a beautiful day and Happy New Year.